Hi everyone, Kieran here. Nice to see you all. Hope you are having a lovely week. It's fantastic weather in Scotland today, so that's always a plus. So I just wanted to discuss a topic today that you've seen all over the news, and it's about the driver shortage, driver wages, and I just thought I'd give my thoughts on it for being a new past driver. As you know from my previous video, I failed my class 1, which is rebooked for the next couple of weeks. But yeah, I just want to really discuss what I think about the shortage, how much it's been a nightmare to try and get test dates for the DVLA, and just, and just jobs, HGV jobs in general, especially where I am in Edinburgh and the Lothian area. So first of all, with the shortage, you definitely know there's a driver shortage. You can see that when you go into any supermarket or most big retailers. They're just struggling to get product in. Do I think the government would bring the EU drivers back, so European drivers back? 100%. I think eventually something they'll need to give. It's just about when they'll actually do that. I know that the government has said so far that they've got haulage companies and should be focusing on hiring UK staff, and I 100% agree to that. And 100% we should be trying to get UK drivers in, and people who want to do the industry to get a part of the industry. But like for me, for instance, I was really interested, I'm interested in getting it, and I'm getting in the industry. However, there was no support there for myself. I was working full permanent role. There was no financial support there to really do anything, no incentives there. I think, as you know from my previous video, I have a haulage company paying for my class 1 because I'm going to work for them. However, I still had to pay for all my theory tests, my medical, my CPC course, and my class 2 course. Now if you go to one of my previous videos, you'll see the breakdown of that, the cost. And so far I've probably paid about, I don't know, maybe 1,800 quid. That's not a lot of, that's a lot of money to some folk, a lot of people don't have that. Obviously I was going to pay the 1,400 quid for my class 1, which I would happily have paid. However, a haulage company is willing to pay for it, so happy days. So yeah, there was no support whatsoever. So I think that the government need to really step up if they want, or even haulage companies in general as well. I think haulage companies need to start putting a bit more effort in. I've spoken to some haulage companies who say they're desperate. What's happening is a lot of the drivers are now going to agencies, because agencies are paying up to like 20 to 25 quid an hour, just obviously due to the shortage and stuff. But eventually that'll give in. That money's not going to last forever, and they'll end up going to have to go back to haulage companies, and a lot of these haulage companies just won't have them back because they're like, well, you left us, So but yeah, so I feel like they need to start putting a bit more effort and try to incentivise. I know like Tesco's and companies like that are offering £1,000, but £1,000 is not a lot of money. That's probably spaced out at some point. Time you get taxed and that, it's not a great amount of money, to be fair. The wages are still not that great with them, as far as I've looked at and kind of done my calculations on roughly how many hours they're going to be doing. So I think like companies need to start going, well, if they're interested in class 1, we'll pay for it, and what they maybe do is just take it off your salary and stuff like that, or work something out that way. I think that's one of the, you've got to stay with the company for a certain amount of time. The government 100% need to step up. They need to be getting more people into the industry, try and look at young drivers, try to pay for their courses. But instead I'm not seeing anything like that. I've heard rumours on the news, and the thing is, you can't really listen to the news at the moment because there's so much crap from the media. Like HGV drivers are getting paid more than lawyers, and HGV drivers are getting more than Morrison's executives in some cases and stuff stuff like that, and I'm just thinking, where do these guys make this stuff up? Because I can tell you now, I have not seen any wages in Scotland so far that even go anywhere close to that. I've seen some that's probably maybe 45 grand and stuff like that. Now that's good, a fantastic salary for folk, you know. So it's just, but people are saying you can get up to 60 to 80 grand of just on these media outlets and stuff like that. It's just like, oh, it's just beyond me where they're making this stuff up, where they're pulling these figures for. Maybe in London, I can understand in London, maybe obviously they do make more money, but because their outgoings are more, so 100% get that. So maybe that's where they're getting their money, but I can tell you now, it's not happening in Scotland. I kind of keep an eye on the wages and kind of in Scotland at the moment, and especially like obviously in Edinburgh, Lothian, just to see what's happening, just like to have a good nosy. Obviously I've still got my class 2 licence, and honestly, see when you're actually looking on, you're looking just to have a look at for class 2 work in Lothian area, and the money is absolutely shocking. The money, you know what I mean? I don't know how I get that a lot of people don't have outgoings or don't have a mortgage or anything like that, but I just don't understand why guys work for this money, you know, like 10 quid an hour, but you're working all the hours under the sun, you know, you're doing 16 to 18 drops a day. Oh, absolutely crazy. Just would never even think about it, I would never even consider it. I'm just thinking, geez, it's just not worth it. You can make a lot more money doing a lot easier stuff than that. Class 1 is, in Lothians in Edinburgh, it's still not, wages are still not the best, to be fair. There is agencies that are offering, you know, 16 to 18 quid an hour and stuff, where in this area anyway, which to be fair, if you can get 18 quid an hour, I think that's pretty decent. I've not seen really any agency offering anything above that so far, so I think a lot of the, you know, you're seeing a lot of these, I think in Glasgow actually, you know, I think you see like in Lanarkshire area, in the Glasgow region, I think you tend to get more money through there. It's probably cheaper for big companies to be in Glasgow area because it's close to the motorway. It's a lot cheaper than probably being in the Edinburgh region for, you know, having a warehouse location and stuff like that. So I kind of get why they're maybe based for it. That's where a lot of the high paying jobs are, from the kind of Lanarkshire region, where I've seen actually some going up to like £24 an hour, you know, for tramping. So obviously that's where the money is, there's tramping obviously. So yeah, so but I think just overall driver shortage, I think the government need to get their thumb out and get more incentives and get funding in so people can do it. Because I know guys who want to do it, say they've always been interested in doing it, but they've got a family, they've got kids, they don't have £3 grand spare to go put themselves through a licence, but yet we've got such a massive shortage in driving, then why are we not trying to get these guys into it, who want to do it, who enjoy it, and you know, it's getting drivers in the industry as well. So it's a hard one. Another one that I think are just absolutely crazy is they need to get the DVLA sorted, you know what I mean? That needs to be top priority, you know what I mean? I feel like they're just an absolute joke to deal with. You can never get hold of them, they're just an absolute nightmare. Honestly, I think you know, they're talking about, man, my training company are saying that they're now talking about strikes again and stuff like that, and I feel like if they go on strike now when there's such lack of space, you know, as I said, I'm very lucky with my training company, because that guy's on the ball. He checks 10 times a day. He usually can get, because obviously he has block bookings, he can get me there a lot sooner than if I tried to do it myself. Because looking at yourself, you're probably looking at, I don't know, months away, you know what I mean? Like, he's saying that there's something, you know, they're fully booked up until, unless you get a cancellation, you're probably looking at November. Nah, I just find that absolutely crazy, you know, just how shocking these guys are. They need to get more staff, they need to get, even if it's a case of, you know, trying to get a lot of these training companies to get involved to help, you know what I mean? But they're just not. I feel like if they go on strike, I feel like it's like the nail in the coffin for the DVLA. I think eventually they'll need to go, they'll get privatised. You know, that's the only way I can think of them trying to get around the solution. Because even, you know, I've got a sister-in-law who's just sat her car theory test. Now she fails, but she's now looking at it as a 3-month wait to get a theory test. Now how crap is that for a young person who wants to try to get a licence and they just can't even get dates in? So I think that the DVLA, honestly, I think that's one of the biggest things for me, is like they need to get their arse sorted, because it's absolutely shocking how just unprofessional. And as I said, you cannot even get a hold of these guys. Now I understand they're probably under a lot of pressure, you know, must be hard working in that environment, in an office environment, and you're just getting so many calls and emails and inundated with all that stuff. But surely this is where the government need to step in and go, right, well, we need to try and get this sorted. You know what I mean? I can understand why they want to strike, but they just, you know, the industry, you know, everything in the, you know, people want to pass their tests, that theory test, they cannot afford for DVLA to go and strike, especially when there's such a backlog already, and people are just, I mean, there's some people I see on Facebook and they're just struggling to get anywhere near tests, which is devastating. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'd be devastated if I failed my class 1 and I've got to wait 3 or 4 months before I can sit it again, because 1, you're not going to be used to having the truck again, so you're not really going to have that spatial awareness where you had the week's course, and 2, it's like, it can dishearten you. You can go like, oh no, what, I'll just leave it. And that's what the industry can't afford to have, that kind of attitude. So I think they definitely need to get their arse in gear, and we'll see what happens. I think something's got to give at some point. I know there's consultations and all that stuff regarding trying to get, you know, you don't have to sit your class 2, you can just go straight to class 1. You know, if you pass your car test, you can go straight to class 1 if you're 18-year-old or 17, I can't remember exactly what age it was. And other consultations like that, but that's great, but they still need to sit a test. And if you can't get a test date or a course, you know what I mean, it doesn't make, you know, what's the point? You know what I mean, there's no point, because it's all well and good doing that, going straight to class 1, but if you can't get a course this side of the year, then what is the point? I know companies are charging through the roof at the moment due to demand of class 1. I've seen guys saying that they're possibly going to be paying like, you know, £2 grand, £2.5 grand, even up to £3 grand for a class 1 course. But it's crazy prices. So I think something's got to give. But, you know, I think EU drivers will eventually get brought back in, because unless the government drastically changes how they're going to try to get UK drivers doing it, then I can't see any other option. DVLA need to get sorted, and yeah, we need to see better wages up in Scotland anyway, especially in the Edinburgh and Lothians area, because it's shocking. You know what I mean? I don't know where these media outlets are getting all their salaries and that from, because I can tell you now, it's not in Scotland or in Edinburgh anyway. So yeah, so that's just my thoughts on the driver shortage. Just a bit of a rant, you know what I mean? I'm sick of hearing all these salaries, prices and all that, and we're getting paid more than lawyers, and as I say, DVLA just annoyed me. The fact is, it's just, they're just not sorting stuff out. So yeah, so that's my rant for the driver shortage and wages and stuff like that, and my thoughts on the whole situation. But yeah, so don't forget to hit that like button, guys. I appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button, because I'm planning on growing the channel hard and putting more videos out, and I'd appreciate all the support. And if there's any other content you guys want to see, obviously including trucking, that will come. But if there's anything else that you want me to see or that or do or talk about, then leave in the comment section, and I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Take care.